Hello, my name is Gabriel Baradee. I'm a UX designer, and in this video I will walk you through my portfolio from start to finish. The following information is gathered from my online portfolio, where I also present more projects. In my work as a UX designer, I strongly focus on the field of UX research. But now I will present you the app So Good. Imagine you love fashion and want to produce your own garments, but suddenly you got stuck in the making. What is this tool for? Or how is the correct pattern cutting done? And this is exactly where So Good comes in. There you can connect with other experts from the sewing or knitting field and can book a paid consultancy lesson. And then, all in a sudden, your problems will be gone. So let's have a look at the process that I followed during the design of this app. So here you can see the app So Good. It is a mobile responsive app, and I designed this app during a UX design course with careerfoundry. Tools that I used were Figma, Miro, Usability Hub, and so on. I learned in this project how to do a whole project from start to finish with all the necessary design steps that need to be done. So let's have a deeper look. The task. The task was to design a expert chat app. I chose an expert chat app in the sewing or handicraft field, where students can connect with other experts from the design fields like pattern cutter, sewers, and so on, and they can book consultancy lessons there. And the students can communicate there with experts via chat or via video call. Next, I want to present you this process that I took. It is a typical design thinking framework process I used. So we have discover. This is where my focus as a UX designer is lying. So a definition of a problem statement was made, a description of potential solutions, a SWOT analysis, UX analysis, user stories, and so on were set up. Then I did, in the next phase, emphasis. I did the user personas, user journey maps, illustration of user flows, and so on. This led me to the ideate phase, where I did an open card sort, creation and refinement of the sitemap. Then the next step was the design of the actual frameworks, first on paper and then with Figma, the standard design tool. And then, of course, a testing phase, where I did the conception of the test and the test itself, so a usability test conducted in person and remote. And an A/B preference test was also done. And this process is always an iterative process. So let's have a deeper look at the special stages. I did the problem statement, so in this case it would be Betty, my proto-persona's name, needs a way to chat with an expert in the sewing and knitting field, like a designer, pattern maker, tailor, etc., because she often gets stuck in her sewing project, as I explained it before, and she would like to chat with them. You also have the possibility to book group lessons, as we will see later. Betty is a very social person and likes to sew with other people as well. If you like to see more in-depth, there is an in-depth version of all the tasks that I did as a PDF file in my portfolio. Next, I would like to show you the emphasis, an excerpt of the emphasis state, where I designed the user persona, Betty. She's a very communicative person. Just to give some examples, her goals and needs, she likes to filter the expert by specialization, for example, or she gets frustrated when she can't choose the method of the teacher, so she would like to see which teacher she is going to book, for example. What also is very important to say, in my app I also followed some gamification types. So this type would be socializer. She likes to contact and interact with others This is very important. You have a very in-depth version on the portfolio as well, but in this case I would like to show you, as my focus lies on the research of a UX design project, I would like to present you this a little bit more in detail, because when you have an expert chat app, you always have two persona groups. So you have the student and the expert. And of course, I did not only the student. As you can see here, we know Betty already and Linda as a student. We also have experts like Tina, and more sophisticated and advanced experts like Tom. We will see Tom later on. Just to give you a quick view on the user journey, it is also very important to understand the user. That's why I did this line with the feeling and the motivation, and also the approach to certain tasks, not only for the student, but also for the expert. And as you can see, I divided it into two very visual elements. The blue one is always the student, and the orange is always the expert. Then you have, just to quick recap, you have the whole flow from opening the app to the video call. You can see this very detailed on the portfolio if you like to dig deeper into the project. But let's get back to the project itself. The next phase was ideate, so I did an open card sort, refinement of the sitemap, and so on. Next, I designed, of course, the wireframe. So you can see it here. First on paper and then with Figma. So I will start from the home screen. Of course, there is a login and a sign up and an onboarding. You can have a look at that too. I will put a link in the description box. But let's say Betty would like to search for an expert. So on her home screen, she goes to search by expert. Then she types in the field, like for example, pattern making, go to search. And then you have, for example, Tom. Betty is a mother of 2 children, so she wants to do some kids wear. She chooses Tom, and on Tom's page she can then see his project or his liked experts, but maybe she has some questions to her problems, and then she can chat with him. If everything is solved, she can get a booking link from Tom, except that she can choose her credit card or payment option, buys the link, proceed with the payment, and then she chats with a very happy expert. When this consultancy is over, she can just finish the call and is back to her home screen. I would like to show you one more thing on the profile of herself. The gamification type, you can collect points. There are different kinds of gamification aspects to it, so collecting, and also trophies. And she can be a silver status member or a gold status member, and so on. So this was a very important topic of my research as well. But let's go back to the portfolio. So you have the design phase, and then of course a very intensive testing was made, and I did all the testings and all the testing things, and of course then an improvement to the task was done. There is a very in-depth version on this screen as well. And here are my interview questions for the last achievement. Have you ever given feedback on someone else's designs before? Have you received feedback on your design? Receiving feedback is very important, I guess, and I got a lot of feedback, not only during the making of the app from my mentors, tutors, and fellow students, but also in my daily life as a professional fashion designer, which is very important to improve and get better. And I also have the pleasure to give my professional feedback to fellow UX designers on their portfolios or case studies. Second question, How would your teammates describe you professionally? I guess they would describe me as a professional, creative, and always hardworking individual who is always willing to support others and is a good team player. And I guess my honesty is also valued by a lot of people. Third question. Tell me about a difficult project where you overcome a challenge. Difficulties in projects are mostly due to a lack of time. In that case, it is very important to set up a plan with a very structured deadline list. I can remember a very big fashion project where I stepped into a colleague's job and time was nearly up. So I had to develop a very neat plan with a deadline list to finish this project. And of course, asking others and asking for help is also very important. And in the end, this fashion project was a very big success. And the last question, think of questions you would ask an interviewer. For instance, it could be something about a culture flow, company vibes, or product questions. I think a very important question would be what is your design process in the company to see which approach they have and what projects they usually take, and how does the role of a UX designer fit into the company or organization. Thank you very much for your attention.